Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. Here I am at Magdalen College, Oxford. If you want to find it, make sure that you spell it correctly. It's spelt Magdalen. So it's dedicated to the Blessed Virgin Mary, and it was founded in 1458 by William Waynflete, who was the Bishop of Winchester, which is why they've got a Waynflete building. It's student accommodation. It's actually the most hideous building in Magdalen, but you can't see it from this angle, fortunately. It's across the River Cherwell. So behind me is the new building, and it's called new because it was built in the early 20th century. I can't remember the actual date. I have a feeling that C.S. Lewis actually lived in that one. C.S. Lewis, that philosophy don and writer. So, although he'd been an undergraduate at University College, Oxford, he'd been a don at Cambridge University for many years. He only came in the 1950s, early 50s, and was here for about 10 years. He died in November 1963, the same day as John F. Kennedy. And so his death was very much overshadowed by JFK, which is why C.S. Lewis' death was not reported so much. Because had he not died the same day as JFK, he would have been front page news because he was very famous amongst Christians at the time. Anyway, so this college, well, teaches all sorts of subjects. What can I say? Like English, maths, law, history, medicine, classics being Latin and ancient Greek. So most of the mainstream subjects can be studied here at Magdalen. Yeah, its symbol, I'll show you the coat of arms later, hopefully, is these black and white diamonds in a checkered pattern, and it's got white lilies, symbols of the Blessed Virgin, because they represent the purity of St. Mary. But Magdalen, it's a reference to St. Mary Magdalene. No, not the Blessed Virgin, as in when Jesus Christ was on Via Dolorosa, the woman who came and wiped his face, shared his sorrows, and so on. That's Mary Magdalene, but in reference to the college, it's pronounced Magdalen. The thing is, Magdalen, M-A-U-D-L-I-N, also means exceedingly sad. So perhaps there's a bit of a homophone. So apart from the new buildings, you see the older buildings, some of them dating back to the late 15th century. You see the gargoyles up high. Above the second level of windows, many little statues. Unfortunately, there's no zoom, and they're all these frightening faces, these grotesques, the idea that they ward off evil spirits by scaring them away. Okay, so it's got huge grounds. It's got the biggest gardens of any college in Oxford University, and it's got its own deer park, where the deer are over that side. They're so far away, about a quarter of a mile away, you wouldn't be able to see them from this distance. Mostly they're on the other side, and over here is the River Cherwell. It's spelt Cherwell, but it's pronounced Cherwell. It flows into the River Thames. So if you come this way, please, towards this. So it's been mixed, open to girls and boys since the early 80s. Famous people have been here. Well, A.J.P. Taylor, the left-wing historian, was a don here through much of the 20th century. I'm just thinking, oh yeah, King Edward VIII, he came here. They didn't graduate because they didn't used to do that. Members of the royal family would come to Oxford University or sometimes Cambridge for a year, leave. And until the mid-20th century, that wasn't uncommon to do. There was no disgrace in going down after a year or two without sitting finals, without sitting any exams. Pick up a bit of an education, not intended to get a degree. John Paul Getty was here, the American billionaire. William Hague, the foreign secretary, was here. Niall Ferguson. I'm just trying to think who else you might have heard of. So up high, you see the black and white diamond pattern, the diamonds in a checkered pattern, and the three white lilies to show the Blessed Virgin. So beyond this is more of the deer park, and it's huge. I mean, it could be like 1 mile by 1 mile. And considering we're one of the most expensive cities in the UK, and here is a little bit of the Cherwell, the two channels of the Cherwell here, and it flows into the Thames down there. The Thames, when it flows through Oxford, is called the Isis, and we often, we spell it Thamesis, well, often of the Thames. So that's it. And further down there, there's Magdalen Bridge, and there are punts. These little boats are a bit like gondolas. You have a big pole called a quant, and you push on the riverbed to push yourself along. So there's absolutely gorgeous walk around, and there's a mosque in the far corner near their sports fields. Okay, so that's perhaps a little bit of an introduction to some of Magdalen. It's huge. I'll tell you more about Magdalen Tower later, perhaps.